Hello, it's Scott Manley here once again. After the success of my beginner's guide to EVE Online, I had a lot of requests to go further and create more videos explaining this vast and complex game. So, let us start at the beginning. Your first days as a capsuleer in the universe of New Eden.
The neural uplink appears to be functioning. Now that your original body has been euthanized without complications, you are ready to begin training as a capsule pilot. First, you should get used to your new clone.
And there we have the dulcet tones of Aura, the ship's computer, telling us that you have just been woken up in your new clone body after the original body has been euthanized. That's right, Eve has a reputation for being harsh and unforgiving, and it's so harsh that they actually kill you before you even start. Anyway, as you see, there are these little tutorial windows to help you walk through things, literally. I'm not going to discuss the contents too much detail because that would be rather redundant. Read them through yourself. The first few of these will have voiceovers by Aura, but don't expect this to continue through the game. After the first few tutorials, it's largely text only. Clicking through these, you come to the first really important thing, the skill training queue. They give you a skill book and you want to get training this right away. So, opening up the skill queue, you can just drag this new skill book in there and hit apply and you'll start training it. And you can see that it's less than 10 minutes. You'll have your first level of training in this skill complete. The queue lets you queue up new skills to train for the next 24 hours. So let's do that. Personally, I recommend training your racial frigate skill to level 3 and then 4. Notice that these skills are going to take much longer. As you train skills to higher levels, it takes longer and longer to train the next level. With level 1 only taking a few minutes and level 5 taking days, weeks, or sometimes even months. When you log off at the end of the session, the skills will continue to train, and if one finishes, then the next one in the queue automatically starts up. So always make sure that you have your skill queue full. It is a good idea to put short skills at the start while you're playing, and the longer ones at the end, since your short ones will finish quickly and then you'll continue training towards your long-term goals. Anyway, we'll go into more details on skills later. After getting your skills started, the next thing I'd suggest is you follow the tutorials in detail and take a quick walk around your captain's quarters. And when I say quick, I mean short, because the avatar shows absolutely no urgency in their ambulation. You can admire the furnishings, watch the video screens, and even access bits of the user interface here. But this does take a lot of processor power and memory, and if you do not have a hefty machine, then this really can become quite a drag on game performance. For most people, I suggest turning this off. There is a button on the station panel that says Enter Hangar. Click on that, and instead of seeing your avatar, you will see your ship docked in the hangar. You can access the same user interface from either view. It's up to you. Right now you don't have a ship, you have a capsule, also known as a pod. If we want a ship, we should continue the pilot orientation by talking to Aura. The station panel shows the corporations, pilots, and agents in the station. Make sure you've selected the agents panel and then double click on Aura to begin speaking to her. The mission description pops up in a window, and basically it says leave the station and warp to a training complex to get awarded your first ship. Okay, sounds good to me, so we hit accept, and while the tutorial page tells us to walk to the end of the observation gantry, I've turned that off, and instead I just have to hit the undock button in the bottom left of the screen. So now we're in space, in our pod. You can rotate the camera around by clicking and dragging with the left button, and the mouse wheel will let you zoom in and out. The pod is moving along at 150 meters per second, and we can double click in space to tell it which way we want to go. Or we can select a target on the overview and fly a course relative to that. However, the training complex we're supposed to go to is hundreds of millions of kilometers away, and travelling there at this speed would take years, so instead we use warp drive. The training complex has been added to our bookmarks. To access our bookmarks, we can right-click at any location in space. You'll see a context menu with a sub-menu for agent locations. One location is the station, which we're at. The other is the training complex. So we select that and warp, and off we go, building up speed to hundreds of times the speed of light. The capsule is actually the most advanced piece of technology you get to use in the game. The background explains that the capsule technology comes from the Jovians, who are an elusive faction that have cut all connections to their space. The capsule really is amazing. It has sublight engines, a warp drive, sensors, and a big bath of goo in which you, the pilot, is suspended, plugged in directly via neural interface. This interface is so complex that should the capsule be ruptured by weapons fire, then it is able to scan the pilot's consciousness and upload it via faster-than-light communications to be reborn in a new body, effectively making you immortal. It can also plug itself into bigger ships and allow the capsuleer direct control of those. Now we've arrived at the training site, and to get the ship we have to use this acceleration gate to get into the site proper. Select the gate from the overview, that's the table of things in space on the right side of the screen, and then click on the Activate Gate button in the selected item window immediately above the overview. You'll see that at every step of this mission, Aura is interrupting me with loads of helpful information, and I'm mostly editing this out, but you should read every word and click through every page because it's not only useful, but some of these tutorial windows actually give you free items, and we know how much you love free stuff. Now, we've arrived at the training site, and there is our shiny new ship. It's time to board it. Select the ship from the overview, and then select the Board Ship command, either from the selected item menu or via the right-click context menu. Now, if you haven't guessed by now, if you're ever stuck regarding how to do something in EVE Online, it's usually a good idea to try to right-click on things to see what menus come up. Anyway, we have what we came for. You can fly this ship around and admire it from every angle. Enjoy the moment. You'll probably be the last time you admire a rookie ship. In my example, it's a Galente Velator, but depending upon the race you choose, you might get a Kildari Ibis, an Amarian Emperor, or the Minmatar Reaper. Now, this is also the time that Aura gives you a very useful tutorial about how to read the heads-up display. This is the circular display at the bottom of the screen, which displays the status of your ship's shield, armour, hull, and capacitor. There's really not much point in me repeating it all at this time, but we will go into more detail on some of these in later videos. Anyway, we have a ship. Now we need to get those important documents in case we get pulled over by Concord, the space police. That's in the next section of the training site. Now, again, we select the gate and we activate it to warp us through to the last part of the training complex. Now, on landing, on the overview there is an item labelled as a cargo rig. Its symbol is a small square which has been rotated 45 degrees onto its corner. This is a symbol used by cargo containers and other structures which can contain cargo in space. You'll be seeing a lot of these. Select it and then hit the approach button, and when you get within 2.5 kilometers of the rig, you should be able to open it by clicking on the Open Cargo button. This opens up the inventory window, which lets you move items between containers. You can either select the documents and drag them into your ship's hold, or, in cases like this where you're not needing to be particularly fussy, there is a Loot All button which grabs everything. Now, this seems like a perfect time to deliver the all-important loot ownership speech. When you see a container in space, the colour of it will indicate ownership. If it is white, blue, or even red, then you can take items from it without consequence. However, if it is yellow, you will be considered a thief if you take items from the container, in which case the owner, and possibly his entire corporation, will be allowed to shoot you without Concord getting in the way. So until you really know what you're doing, don't take stuff from yellow containers or wrecks, even if it says free ore, or if the person in the big scary ship is helping you by giving you ammunition. It's a trap. If they want to give you it, they will abandon the container and turn it blue. Anyway, we have our papers, we want to complete the mission. So we just warp back to the station and dock. You can see the station on the overview as a square, so select it and then click the dock button. Your ship will warp to the station and automatically dock when it gets within range. Now you've docked, all you need to do is talk to Aura one more time and then hit Complete Mission. And that's it, you've completed your first mission. And that seems as good a time as any to finish this video. I'll see you in the next part where we do more missions for Aura.